Stavros Tousios for M4Markets. Today we're going to have a quick look at pound and also silver. The prices of pound have fallen, okay? And it looks like to me, guys, that if this is indeed what I'm thinking of it being, a triangle, right? Then we could perhaps wait for one more leg to the downside and then start seeing an actual correction. But in the medium term, for me, the top is in, and what I am expecting to happen is something like of a correction over here, and corrections come in 3 different legs, and we are still doing the first leg, and this first leg to the downside is supposed to have 5 legs, and this is the first and the second, this is the third, and the fourth is the triangle, and then we'll have the fifth as 1, 2, and 3 and 4, and one more leg to the downside to finish this first leg to the downside. Then 2 legs up, 3 legs up, sorry, and another 5 legs down to complete this potential pattern. Now there is a different scenario at play here, one that sees this as 1 and 2, and indeed 3. But the fourth is like a complex correction, which means it could be a case where this is something like a zigzag and another zigzag, and then you have a triangle ending here instead of the first scenario, which is here. That would mean that we might have already finished down here, and we're going to start seeing the correction to the upside. Either way, the idea is that soon, even after a short-term move to the downside for a fresh low, we ought to see prices seeing some sort of pullback. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then something like of a 3, and then another 5. And you know, we could be looking, typically because this is a reversal correction following a reversal, typically we do correct, depends on the low, of course, you have to pull that down depending on what sort of move we see to the downside. But to me, it looks like we're going to get one more leg down. We'll look for the 38, 50, and 62, and closer to the 62, because if this is, actually I would say to the 50, because according to guidelines for Fibonacci's in this particular stage of a market cycle, we typically see the 50%. So one leg to the downside and then a leg to the upside in the medium term that could get us up to around 120, 120. From there, we'll look for further opportunities to the downside. Now, when we look at silver, we looked at silver, I think it was maybe last week, and we talked about how close we are to the channel, and that we're actually heading towards that channel. And now we have come all the way down here, which is below the 20, a psychological level, okay, and we have stopped. We don't see a divergence, and this could be a bit detrimental for the prices of silver because we are also below the 61.8. Apart from being below that level, we've also came back up and retested it as a resistance. So this area over here, guys, is very important, because if we do lose that level, okay, we could start a leg down to around the 19, okay. Now, here's what else I'm seeing here. I'm seeing a hidden bearish divergence here that has pushed prices lower down, okay? And still no signs of a potential respite. So we have to go on the 1 hour over here because it's a bit more of a short-term thing that we have to pay attention to. And we do see some divergence, like slight divergence, but I will still expect and suspect one more leg to the downside, okay? Coming down here, for example, would probably give us a more decent divergence signal, because the RSI seems already to be far from, you know, when compared to the price. I mean, that distance is probably, I don't know, 2%, and this is like 5. So on the way down, we are very likely going to see some divergence taking place here. But I am still, however, expecting one more leg to the downside here. Because typically, as I said, markets move in 5 waves. This is the 1 and the 2, this is the 3, and this is likely now the 4th. Maybe finished, maybe we're still correcting in the 4th. And from there, one more leg to the downside, and then we start looking for potential moves to the upside. Now, let's not forget we are in commodities, and in commodities, it's very often seen that the fifth and last wave is strong, okay, and long. So pay attention. We might actually get quite of a dip here before we see any signals for a potential reversal. This is the idea here.